So I moved to Switzerland 7 years ago and everything changed in life for me. Some things were easy to adjust to, but some things took me a little bit of effort. But one thing for sure that I could never find a replacement for was a couple of things that are typically Indian in terms of our kitchen, our healthcare, our skincare and hair care. So I realized that these top 10 things are not just for us Indians, but they're very good for people in general if you want to focus on healthy eating, healthy alternatives to medicines. And I think that, like me, you'll find them very important, and you'll find them actually interesting to have in your own kitchens, be it Swiss, Mexican, American, or from wherever you are. So if you want to find out the list of these top 10 items that are really good and typically Indian, just keep watching this video. The number one thing that we Indians always have in our kitchen is called turmeric powder, or haldi in India. So haldi is super nutritious because it's very high in antioxidants. That's the first property of turmeric powder, and it has this compound called curcumin, which is very good because it's really got a very high anti-inflammatory property, and this is something that we use to build our immune systems. I know that turmeric is not just used in India, it's used in a couple of other countries also, and I think lesser in the West, but thanks to globalization, now it's available everywhere. So if you go to an Indian store, just don't forget to buy turmeric powder. So the way I use turmeric powder is when I'm sauteing my vegetables, I'm always putting in a little bit of turmeric powder, and it adds totally yellow color to my vegetables, which is all right, but this is one way I use it. And another way is sometimes when I feel that I'm feeling down, under the weather, I just take in a glass of warm milk, I add in a pinch of turmeric powder, which makes my milk completely yellow, and then I drink it. But the next morning I really realize that I'm feeling so much more better, and the kind of like dizzy feeling or the feelings of having the flu are just gone. So turmeric is one of our top priorities in the Indian kitchen, and I use it over here also in my Swiss home. The second thing that I always have with me in my fridge is ginger garlic paste that is in a glass jar, and it is always in the fridge at home. So my mother always made curries with ginger garlic paste as the base, and I've known it since my childhood. I remember the days when she used to like grate the ginger and peel the garlic and put it into a mixer and just make a fine paste to store it in the fridge for use for about 1 or 2 months. You just need a spoon of ginger garlic paste for anything you're preparing that's Indian, and it'll last you for a very long time. The fact is that they're both super healthy, they're very high in antibacterial and antifungal properties, and they are so easy to make. Well, I admit that it's a little bit of effort when you have to grate a lot of ginger and a lot of garlic, but the amount of time they just get to be in the fridge and just be used is really a long time. So you can just have them for a couple of months together, and that's really worth the effort you put in. So my mother has always wanted to find out like if I have ginger garlic paste at home, and once when I told her that I had bought a fresh jar of ginger garlic paste, she was pretty sad because in India most of the women actually make ginger garlic paste themselves instead of buying the store-bought ones. And when she told me about how easy it is, I tried to do it, and after that I've never looked back. Ginger garlic paste is something that is always there in our fridge. The fact is also that garlic especially is very good for lowering blood pressure, and it's very good when you have an overgrowth of fungus or bacteria in your system, and it's one of the top foods that many of the very good credible doctors recommend. So garlic is something that I just cannot do without. And for ginger, basically I make tea sometimes with ginger. Well, I have a ginger tea that I make. I'm going to put a link somewhere up here so that you can watch my very nice tea Indian chai recipe where I use ginger. But then you can also just take in a cup of really hot water and put in a couple of slices of ginger, and then you can put some dandelion tea or even stinging nettle root tea in it, and add in a little bit of xylitol or erythritol if you want to sweeten it, or maybe honey, and then drink it, and it's very good for your system and also tastes super delicious. Alright, so the third thing that I've always got with me is ajwain seeds, or carom seeds as we call it in India. No, actually we call them ajwain. So ajwain seeds are very good for especially an upset stomach. So if you are having some bit of problem with your belly, all you have to do is take in a couple of ajwain seeds, chew them up, and then just guzzle a glass of water, and then let them go into your belly and do all the important work. So ajwain seeds are something that are so strong, and they're kind of like bitter, and they're not tasty at all. But then it's a matter of realizing that instead of popping a pill, you can actually use these natural seeds to destroy all the germs that are there in your stomach, and then you're good to go, like I am. Because for me, anything that is giving me a natural solution and not giving me the side effects to medicines is always a yes. So ajwain seeds are something that I always have with me. And there was once a time when my husband had a little bit of belly something going on, and then I gave him a bunch of these ajwain seeds for the first time. He, being Swiss, was pretty innocent to actually take them into his mouth and start to chew them on, and then he realized how not very nice they are in taste. He tries to run away every time he has a bit of a belly problem, but then I have my own ways of putting these seeds into his mouth. So he realizes that they are really helpful, and now, although with a bit of resistance, he does take ajwain seeds like me. So it's really nice a feeling when you realize that people even from other cultures are actually trying to take in the best things of other cultures like mine or any other culture. It's a very good thing, and I think health should not be culture specific, it should just be for everyone. And the number 7 thing is curry powders. So my husband is like always going crazy about curry and curry and curry, but there are certain powders that are very typical of us Indians, and we have coriander powder, we have garam masala, we have chicken masala or mutton masala. So we have lots of these mixture of curry powders for different recipes. Apart from adding taste, the best thing that curry powders do also is that because they're made from a lot of different kinds of seeds and mixed together, they're obviously having a lot of nutritional properties, and if you add in a little bit and not too much of it, you will not get a stomach reaction. That is if you're new to this kind of eating. So I would recommend that you go slow on curry powders, and for starters, maybe you can just start to use coriander powder, which is basically coriander, and the seeds powder from coriander. And also you can just try to use garam masala, which is like very typical of Indian kitchen. You can actually use these curry powders even in whatever kitchen you have, whether it is American, Mexican, Spanish, Greek, it doesn't matter. It's all about experimenting and learning from other cultures and getting the best out of them. So these things are some things that I always have with me as an Indian. And number 8, drum roll please, because this is super important for all of us, and it's coconut oil. Coconut oil is something that is obviously super multi-purpose kind of a thing, and this is something that we always use. So when we think coconut oil, we always think of parachute coconut oil, which is very Indian. It comes in a blue bottle, and it's something that we always used for our hairs since we were kids. At school, it was a very funny thing, but we were always asked to oil our hairs and come to school and never have the hair washed and let loose, because it was a matter of like, you know, being good students and very disciplined, teacher fearing and law abiding kids. And we hated it that time. We just didn't want to oil our hairs, and we always wanted to look like one of those nice Bollywood stars with our hair open and you know, not sticky with the coconut oil. But now when I come to think of it, I think it's benefited many of us in the long run, because coconut oil, when put on the scalp, really strengthens our hair, and they let your hair retain their color for a very long time, and your hairs don't fall off very easily, and they give the hair a kind of an immunity from the weather conditions, the pollution, and a lot of bad things that we are prone to, the chlorine in the water. So coconut oil really is a savior when it comes to our hair, and this is something that I always have with me. So there's another way I use my coconut oil, which is as a makeup remover. So when I'm out during the day, I put in a little bit of eyeliner or a little bit of lipstick, but then at the end of the day, as soon as I come home, I have to get all these things off my face. And I used to use micellar water in the beginning, and it works really well. It didn't dry up my skin. But then when you look at the ingredients of all these products, it's a little bit scary because there are certain things that I've become aware of that are not good for our skin. I'm not talking micellar water, but then things like Johnson's baby lotion or a lot of baby lotions, they have mineral oil in them. And apparently mineral oil is really not good for the skin, because skin, being the largest organ in the body, absorbs everything that is put onto it. And we don't want to put petroleum products or petroleum byproducts actually, and all these mineral oils that are actually like byproducts of I don't know what really, but I've learned that they're not good for the skin, and I try not to use them. So I decided that micellar water may be good for my skin, or maybe not harming my skin. But when I have an alternative to that, which is coconut oil, which is super good, and even if it goes into my skin, if it is not going to harm me but actually going to do me good, how about using coconut oil? So I just like dab in a little bit of coconut oil on my eyelids or wherever I want my makeup removed, and then I just rub it off with a damp cloth, and that's it. It's all gone and my skin is again breathing. So coconut oil is a savior, and like I said, it's something I just can't live without. And number 9 is cumin and mustard seeds. They are like brother, sister, they're like siblings, they're like partners, they're like couple, I don't know. But cumin and mustard seeds are super important again in our kitchen, just like ginger garlic paste. I think let's call them partners, that's a nice thing. Ginger, garlic, and cumin, mustard. So anyway, cumin and mustard seeds are very important in the Indian kitchen, and they're also very healthy. They have a lot of B vitamins. These little things are so power packed, these seeds, that it's hard to kind of like even believe that things so small can be so nutritious. And cumin and mustard seeds are definitely those. I'm not using them in all my cooking expeditions or endeavors, but I'm using them time to time because I know they're very healthy, and they're also very typically Indian. If my mother were to come to India or Switzerland right now, the first thing that she would ask me is, do we have ginger garlic paste and do we have cumin and mustard seeds? So you know how important it is on the list of Indian ingredients. And number 10. This is also very important for us, and that is clove. Clove is super good for many things, especially if you suffer from teeth problems, if you have bad breath problems, or if you are actually having a weak immune system. Clove really works wonders. So clove, and even actually cinnamon, now that I think of it, cinnamon bark and clove are like brother-sister partners. Let's say brother-sister. So clove and cinnamon are together also very integral in our Indian kitchen, and we just always use them without even thinking about the properties, except the fact that they give so much flavor to our dishes, like wow. But the fact that they build up immunity, they help in oral hygiene problems, and they're also very high in a lot of vitamins, shows that they are super important in our Indian kitchen, and they're very helpful if you start using them yourselves. So guys, these are the list of the top 10 things that are typically Indian and that I always have with me in my Swiss kitchen too. So did you like this video? If you did, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel by clicking on the icon down here. And if you want to watch more of my videos, up here is the link where you have to click. I'll see you very soon in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye.